Everything you thought you knew about the mysterious plague doctors might be wrong. They weren't the noble healers we imagine today, far from it. And their iconic bird-like masks, let's just say the truth behind them is far darker and stranger than you think. This is the story of desperation, fear, and resilience. A day in the life of a 16th century plague doctor. The shadow of the plague. Picture this. It's the 16th century, and a silent killer stalks Europe. The Black Death has returned, leaving devastation in its wake. Entire villages are erased, families ripped apart. The streets smell of rot and despair. No one knows what's causing it. Is it the air, a curse, or punishment from God? People live in constant terror, watching loved ones collapse in agony. The plague doesn't discriminate. It takes the rich and poor alike, leaving cities ghostly and still. The enigma of the plague doctor. And then, through the smoke of burning herbs and the haze of fear, comes the figure of the plague doctor. Cloaked in black, their bird-like mask glints ominously in the dim light. To the sick and the desperate, they are both a symbol of hope and a harbinger of death. The mask, with its long, hollow beak, isn't just for appearances. Inside, it's packed with fragrant herbs and spices, meant to protect them from the miasma, the poisonous air believed to spread the plague. Their waxed cloak? It's a feeble barrier, meant to keep out the bad humors they fear might seep through their skin. In their hands, a wooden cane doubles as a tool and a weapon, keeping the infected at arm's length. A day in the life of a plague doctor. Now imagine the life of one of these doctors. The day begins at dawn with a grim ritual of preparation. The air is thick and sour, the sound of distant weeping drifting through the streets. As the doctor suits up, the weight of their duty presses down on them. They know what's coming. The sick, the dying, the hopeless pleas for miracles they cannot provide. Their first stop is a quarantined house at the edge of town. A knock at the door, a shuffle of feet, and it opens to reveal a gaunt figure. Inside, the stench of decay is overwhelming. A woman lies motionless on a straw mattress, her face blackened with plague sores. Her husband clutches her hand, his eyes filled with desperation. "Can you save her?" he asks. The doctor knows the answer, but can't bear to say it. Instead, they offer a small jar of ointment and a few hollow words of hope. The next visit is worse. A cart stacked with bodies has been left outside a house, the family too sick to bury their own. The doctor records the names of the dead in their ledger, their hands shaking slightly. There's no time to mourn, not for them, not for anyone. By midday, the doctor finds themselves at the plague pits, where gravediggers work tirelessly, throwing quicklime over the dead to mask the smell. Here, the doctor's task is a grotesque one, ensuring no one has been buried alive. It's not an unfounded fear. The plague often leaves victims in a death-like coma. By late afternoon, the doctor visits the town square, where rumors of a new outbreak have sparked panic. A desperate crowd surrounds them, each person begging for answers, for help, for a cure that doesn't exist. The doctor's voice cracks as they explain the precautions once again. Burn the clothes, avoid the sick, trust in isolation. It's a thankless job, but it's all they can offer. As evening falls, the doctor returns home, exhausted and haunted by the faces of the dying and the despair of the living. They remove the mask, the herbs inside now wilted, and collapse into a restless sleep, knowing tomorrow will bring more of the same. The unyielding plague and its aftermath. The hours drag on, each more harrowing than the last. The plague doesn't just kill bodies, it destroys communities. Streets once bustling with life are now empty. The marketplace is silent, save for the occasional cry of a desperate merchant. Entire neighborhoods are abandoned, their inhabitants either dead or fled. The economic toll is staggering. Businesses collapse, farms lie fallow, and hunger adds another layer of suffering to an already unbearable existence. And yet somehow, humanity endures. As the plague begins to wane, survivors emerge from their homes, blinking in the sunlight like ghosts. They mourn their losses, rebuild their lives, and try to make sense of what they've witnessed. The plague leaves scars, not just on the bodies of the afflicted, but on the very fabric of society. Legacy of the plague. Doctor. The plague doctors themselves are a complicated legacy. Their methods were primitive, their understanding flawed, but their presence mattered. They were witnesses to one of history's darkest chapters, their records invaluable to future generations. The measures they helped implement, quarantine, sanitation, would lay the groundwork for modern public health. So next time you see that eerie bird mask, remember, it's more than a symbol of fear. It's a reminder of resilience, of how humanity has faced the unimaginable and survived. Want more stories like this? Stick around. There's so much more history to uncover.